That's right, folks. The Undertaker, the biggest news probably from any of the wrestling. The Undertaker is officially in the Royal Rumble match. Sweet. Awesome. Stoked for that, bro. What do you think?
I think he'll break his hip. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. No, it's really cool. Fanfare and all. I look forward to seeing what happens. I bet he's going to be later in the card. 25 to 30 probably. A lot of people think that he's gonna win it. I think he's a favorite to win it, at least in the gambling world. Sorry, brain's not working today apparently. You asked me if I was ready before we came on, and I'm like, yeah. No, I can't talk at all. So yeah, it's an interesting news. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm super excited. When he said I'm entering the Royal Rumble, I was just like, sweet. Already we have it's super stacked. The Royal Rumble is. And,
Yeah.
I think he is probably my pick right now to win it. I just don't know who else will, because I just don't know where they're gonna go with everybody else.
I think that's the point everybody's with, because I think they should have waited for the news that Goldberg and Lesnar were going to be in the Royal Rumble until later, because when they first announced that they were going to be, I was like, yeah, they're going to win. But now with the possible news that the Undertaker, this will be his last WrestleMania, he's going to retire or whatever. He's got to win, and so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it seems like a good, like we talked about. It seems like a good way. Do the Cena Styles double turn.
Yep.
Put the title on Cena, and then have him face the Undertaker. At WrestleMania, because that's the match everybody wants, and it's the fan, like I said last week, the fans want it too much for them not to do it, and it's the one WrestleMania match we haven't seen yet. We got him versus Triple H 3 times. 2 of those were really, really good. We got him versus Shawn Michaels 2 times. Both of those were outstanding. 2 of the greatest matches ever. Him versus Randy Orton, which was good. Him versus Batista, which was good. But there's still one name missing, and that's the big one. And I feel like this is a perfect way to set it up. Because regardless, who's the heel and who's the babyface, if they do the Cena Undertaker match at WrestleMania, regardless of who's the heel and who's the babyface, John Cena's going to be the heel, because he's going to get a mixture. It's going to be a loud reception, but it's going to be mixed.
Yep.
And Undertaker is going to be universally cheered.
Yeah. Yep.
So it doesn't matter which one's the heel and which one's the babyface. John is going to be the heel, and the Undertaker is going to be the babyface.
Yep.
So they might as well just make it official instead of a crowd official.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really, really the biggest news from Monday Night Raw, and that was.
And that's the only thing we're going to talk about Raw, because the rest of Raw sucked.
Yeah, the rest of Raw was pretty crappy. Some of it did work, some of it just flat out did. Most of it, almost all of it, didn't work.
Yeah, I really don't want to talk about anything. There's the only thing I really want to talk about. It was a hot mess, but I loved it. Was the Shawn Michaels bits.
Yeah.
It was all over the place. But when you have guys who are really good on the mic, Rusev, what a trooper.
Yeah.
Constantly going back and forth.
I'm the Bulgarian George Clooney.
That was funny.
That was good.
The fact that people were cheering or were chanting for Sweet Chin music,
Mm-hmm.
and Rusev's like, he doesn't do that anymore. He doesn't do that anymore. And then Sean's like, you think you can get that foot up here? And Rusev just kind of cut character.
Mm-hmm.
But it was funny. I thought it was great. And I was like, no, I don't think I can. But anyway, put my wife in your movie. That stuff was funny.
I thought that was good too. Yeah.
I thought it was good because it was more real than everything else in this whole show of Raw.
Even though you're right, it was a hot mess.
It was,
but it was entertaining.
It was bad, but like I said, when you got, even though Shawn Michaels hasn't been on the mic for a long time, he can still do a little bit. And he was older. He's not. He's probably got concussion out the wazoo, so his brain's not functioning as well as it should be. Look at Mick Foley. And so, yeah, I thought it was fun. It was a hot mess, but I thought it was funny. I thought everything that Rusev did was great. You have Enzo, who's good on the mic. I could watch Cass's face all day because his face was funny through the whole thing, and I know people are like, oh, the pianist comment was dumb, and I'm like, no, it was funny. And then they were going back and forth, but Lana's laugh was her cackle was funny. It was just weird.
That was.
It was just a weird segment, but I really liked it. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it was a hot mess. It felt so kind of forced and stuff like that, but it was entertaining and funny to watch. Like I don't know why, but seeing Enzo come out in the electric wheelchair with the fake Enzo Amore hair hat, I don't know why, but I get a huge kick out of that. I don't know why, just because the hair is so crazy and ridiculous, and then he just comes out in this electric wheelchair and spins it around, and then actually puts his back to the audience and then still does the Jordan, jump man thing, and then spins around and then starts it's stupid, but I thought it was funny, and but yeah, and then it was funny when he goes, look at my wife, she is more beautiful than Emma Stone, and I was just like, he's not wrong.
No, he's not. I caught myself doing the same thing. I was like, Emma's pretty, but Lana's really pretty.
Yeah, Emma's pretty, girl next door pretty. Yeah. Lana's just a total smoke show.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it was just totally weird. But I mean, he just kept teasing us. He kept honeypotting us, man. Just teasing us with it's the Rumble's in my hometown, and it's been 20 years since I won the title at the Royal, and it's just he's not going to say it. I think he might, but he's not going to say it. He might, but he's not going to say, I'm going to enter the Royal Rumble or anything.
Yeah, I think with the comments he made about, let me teach you how to stay retired.
Mm-hmm.
One can take that and say, well, you are on screen. You were at WrestleMania last year.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really retired? But I think in ring, I think he's done. I don't think he's going to do any more. I don't think any money flash before him will help that decision. I think he's done. I don't think he'll be in the Rumble. I think he was just there to promote the movie that's coming out.
Mm-hmm. Which actually doesn't look bad. I'd be interested to see him.
Yeah, I agree, and I like all the actors who were in that movie anyway. So
yeah, isn't the guy from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in it? He's the main guy.
Just died this past year on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Spoiler alert.
Finally, if you hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
He finally died because he died and then he come back. But anyway, yeah. That was my favorite segment of the whole thing. Outside of, even though the main event wasn't great, the outcome I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was there anything before we get to that? Was there anything else on Raw that you could think of that were like, hey, let's talk about that? Because honestly, it was a poor show.
It was. It just wasn't great. I mean, they mentioned, Brock Lesnar is gonna make an appearance. Okay, Brock Lesnar will be there, and Paul Heyman will talk the whole time.
Yep.
That's what they should say.
Yep.
Most likely. So that's gonna happen next week. But The Undertaker, that whole thing was great, but we already touched on that. The Shawn Michaels thing was weird, and was really, really crazy. And the backstage thing with him and with T.J. Perkins teaching him how to dab, my soul died a little watching that.
I'm glad they didn't put that on Hulu. I had heard about it, and I'm like,
I mean, it was just one of those things where the sound's muted, and they're like, oh, next up, Shawn Mike. It was just it was just a little 20. They showed it for 10 seconds, and they were talking next up, Shawn Michaels, and they just showed him doing that stuff, and I was just like, my soul just died a little bit because I saw Shawn Michaels dabbing.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, you were in 11 match of the year winners, and you're Mr. WrestleMania, and you're one of the most boringest baby faces ever is teaching you to dab. That's the worst. But anyways, yeah, no, there wasn't a whole lot. It was all the stuff with Sasha, Bayley, Charlotte, Nia, that was just kind of there.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was just there.
The only thing I could think about to say about that is you're seeing a side of Sasha that is kind of heel-like, but very angry, very I'm tired of this stuff. And I don't know if they're Stephanie and Sasha, the way they looked at each other, that was weird. So I don't know if they're going to do any more with that stuff. But you're right, every bit of it was just kind of, it felt forced. It felt like, oh, we need to put this together. I just, out, outside of those funny moments that I enjoyed in Shawn Michaels thing, even the Undertaker stuff was annoying to me. I don't mind him coming out and say, hey, I'm in the Rumble. That was cool. His lines were really cool. Him going to Stephanie and just looking at her and saying, nobody controls me. That was cool. But he really killed it with the growl.
Yeah, that was weird. I honestly think he like hiccuped or like felt a cough coming on and he just played it off.
Yeah.
Like I honestly think that's what happened because it didn't like because it seemed like he was just kind of like.
I think I would agree with that because he was very, very growly, and so I would agree with that. He probably was just like hoarse, and he's like that's all I could get out of it.
So I was like, he probably felt a cough coming on, or he was fighting a cough, or fighting fighting a yawn or something like that. I was like, that was weird, but there's probably a reason. Like,
probably.
But yeah, and the whole thing with the Stephanie doing Mick Foley's performance review, that was dumb. Never do anything like that again, ever. And like the whole walking around. Have you seen the Undertaker? Have you seen like?
And then he's calling him out from the dark something, the dark places or whatever.
Yeah, he goes, "Come back from the dark side."
Dark side.
Yeah, and it was just that was just that whole thing was just poor. Like they should have just done that. Mick, I've been going over your performance review, and then they kind of go on that for a couple minutes, and then the Undertaker comes out.
Yeah.
Because everything was just terrible with the whole Mick Foley's performance. Like it was just it was just terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just not a whole lot. I mean, now we have a new U.S. champion.
We do. Let's talk about this. The only good thing, pretty much.
Yeah, the only good thing. And the WWE released a backstage segment with him and not Tom Phillips. Did you see that when I posted it? It's brilliant. It's the best thing that wasn't on Raw. It's the best thing about Raw that wasn't on Raw. It's just them talking, and the new interviewer.
Mm-hmm.
They start calling him by the Tom Phillips names like Felipe and stuff like, and then they stop and like, you're not Tom. Where's Tom Phillips? Go get Tom Phillips. And so it's really, really funny. So check it out. We'll check it out here in a little bit later. But yeah, we have a new U.S. champion.
We do.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm totally cool with it. Because honestly, just because it's Chris Jericho, like I don't know what else. Like I'm just like, all right, cool. Chris Jericho's U.S. champion. The match was okay. Nothing spectacular. It was just okay. They still made it thrilling though. They didn't, phone it in or anything like that. And even in failure, they made Roman look resilient, and they made Jericho. They made them look like a pretty good team and all that. And so yeah, I was part of me was just like, it's not gonna happen. Like it's not gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. Like I thought Braun Strowman was gonna come out again, but no. And then right in the center, of the ring, pinned him and won the U.S. I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Way to go, Chris. And I thought it was kind of cool. Just because they are, the best friends and stuff like that. That he, clocked Roman, Kevin did, and then, let Chris pin him to win the title because they said whoever scores the pinfall wins the title.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, even though they're heels and stuff like that, I was like, oh, because they're best friends.
Yes.
Amazing. Like, yeah, it was a lot of fun, and the crowd really loved it and stuff. So I'm really anxious to see what this means for these three guys, Jericho and Roman, going forward. Because a lot of people are like, oh, Roman dropped the U.S. title to Jericho. That means he's going to win the Universal title at the Royal Rumble, and I'm of the mindset not necessarily.
Yeah.
So
I am too.
I'm of that because because there's always people who are like that. Like, oh, this guy won here, so that means automatically means he's going to lose here or whatever. They all play Sherlock Holmes and think they're going to, deduce it and everything like that. But Yeah, I'm not so sure though. Like, I'm really not. So, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was an all right match. It was I think it was the best, obviously the best match of the night.
Yeah, probably.
That I got to see, because I didn't get to see some of the, like, I didn't get to see Neville's match. I didn't get to see
No one wasn't bad.
a couple other matches,
It
but
made him look pretty
that's good.
gnarly.
That's good, because they're gonna have a match at Royal Rumble. He and Rich Swann, which should be a good match.
I can't wait for that.
But I'm not gonna say that. I detract that, because every time we've said that on air, we've been
The
looking
cruiserweight
for
match has been garbage.
Well, I mean, not just the cruiserweight, like other matches that we've expected to be good have been really bad, and the matches that we thought were going to be bad were decent. And so I'm not going to say
Maybe we
that.
should just stop saying stuff like that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, the match is good. I'm excited. I want to see what happens, because I agree with you. I don't think Roman will win it here. I think he'll end up winning it probably at WrestleMania or on a Raw show. But it'll be a good match at Rumble, so we'll see.
Yeah, and especially because of the whole shark cage thing, you know, that has some potential to be entertaining, you know. So, and I actually liked how, you know, at the beginning of this match, before the bell even rang, Roman just jumped out of the ring and went at him on the ramp, and I love how he actually threw Jericho in the shark cage. You know, I thought that was kind of a cool touch, but yeah, I think you know, their match at Rumble has potential to be entertaining, and hopefully we'll have a big surprise or something.
Yeah.
You know, because the Royal Rumble always brings a lot of surprises. So yeah, can't wait for that.
Yep.
So, are we all done with that?
Yeah, we're done with Raw. I'm done talking about it.
All right, yeah, I want to seal the last nail in the coffin of Raw.
Yeah.
For this week, that this was just garbage. Yeah, it was pretty bad. You know, but thankfully we still have SmackDown to talk about.
Yeah.
So, Stone Cold Broken Skull IPA out of 5.
1.
1, yeah, I give it a 1.
It was a bad show. Just I don't get it. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So that was Raw.
Hmm.
Let's talk about SmackDown.
Yes, let's.
A much better show that started on a much better note.
Oh.
With Dean Ambrose coming out to do the first Ambrose Asylum of 2017 with his special guest, The Miz.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about this segment?
This might be my favorite. Might have been my favorite segment of the night. The whole, I love that, you know, he's like, oh yeah, I got this at the gas station. It was like
Yeah.
the petrified crocodile head or whatever it was, and he was like, you know, he's like, you know, I call it Maurice. Like, that was a nice touch.
I agree.
I thought that was really funny. And yeah, you know, going back and forth, and Miz, you know, like, that's rightfully mine, give it back. And he goes, I will give you what is rightfully yours back. And then, what does he do, Jeremy?
He takes off Maurice's head, the alligator, and pulls out this bag that has the participation award. And he gives Miz the participation award because you tried, which I thought was really, really, really funny. Really brilliant. And then the Miz attacks him, and you know, it was really cool. I liked the end of it, because the Miz attacks him, and then he sets up for Maurice to slap him, and then Maurice hauls off, misses Dean, and slaps.
Yeah, Dean
slaps Miz.
break free and like ducks.
Yeah.
And then she just clocks him.
And then he goes into a dirty deeds, and then he rolls out of the ring, and you have Maurice and Dean left there, and Dean picks up the participation award. And I don't know if it was meant to happen, but I thought it was really good, because he gives it to her, and you tried to slap me.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, that was great.
So yeah, it was a good segment overall. Continue the feud.
This is becoming one of my favorite feuds, and because the segments have been great, have been super entertaining, and you know, they've been really good. And yeah, this is just another great segment by Dean. You know, like we talked about, Dean Ambrose is one of the best. Just not the best at, or you know, he's just one of the best. Like, yeah. He's always great.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we get done with that. That was that feud. That was that storyline. We continue the Nikki Natalia storyline. What did you think of that?
I actually liked this segment. I actually really did. I liked the attack backstage, and then they just straight up beat the crap out of each other.
Yes.
Didn't even have a match.
Yeah.
They just beat the crap out of each other, and that's what the women's division needs in both. Like, even though the Nia Jax Sasha one is kind of becoming really heated, it's got nothing on this. I mean, and that's one thing for a great feud in wrestling. You don't even need to have, you don't need to have these big grandiose, like, hardcore matches or or anything like that. Like, as long as they just straight up hate each other, the characters just and the performers pull off their hatred really well, and these two really do. Then I'm invested in it. I buy it, and it's really good. And they both did a really good job. Like, when they were beating the crap out of each other at ringside, jumping back in the ring, and all that stuff. Like, I actually really liked this segment a lot. Just because it started off really great a few weeks ago with Nikki's just promo, or Natalia's promo, where she just cut loose, was just dropping bombs on Nikki, and then it kind of slowed down last week a little. Last week was just kind of This week they found the footing again. They got it back, and I really enjoyed it. This is becoming a really heated rivalry, and it's really juicy. Like, it's kind of a tabloid-esque, which kind of plays into the whole reality show Total Divas thing, which isn't a bad thing. Like, it actually, and stuff. And I actually, the other night after Raw, I was on my phone as soon as Raw got over, and I was on my phone, and I actually ended up accidentally watching like 5 minutes of Total Divas afterwards. And I was just like, all right, I'm gonna change the channel. I feel dirty like watching this. Like,
it does feel dirty, but when you watch the segments with like Daniel Bryan and Dean, it's not as bad.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because I just feel because it's just a show for women who enjoy WWE. See all the backstage stuff and all the drama and stuff like that. And as a guy watching it, it's just like it's just
I agree with you. I liked this whole segment. From the being attacked in the back, and whatnot. And then I put a note. I would like to see some kind of like a street fight type style match with these guys, with these ladies, because this feud is so built for that. As we saw in the ring, they just want to beat each other up. Whether this is to promote Total Divas, or even what I think possibly might happen is Natalya and Tyson getting their own spin-off type thing, type episode or show. I could see that happening because Tyson's probably never going to wrestle again after what happened to him, and he's not walking around with a brace anymore. But I think to give him some spotlight, I think they should do that. But that's me. Both of these ladies brought both their verbal and their physical to this non-match match, and so I would like to see some kind of street fight.
Yeah, have them like in street clothes and have all kinds of weapons and stuff like that. Have it. Yeah, I feel like this definitely warrants it. I feel like this definitely warrants something super hardcore like that. But yeah, and it's crazy because the crowd were totally into Natalya being a heel. Like, she walked out and she was just kind of had this arrogant sense of like, you're cheering me, like I'm a terrible person, but you're cheering me, and I love it and stuff like that. And she just got in the ring and was just kind of like doing her thing and stuff like that. And they were cheering and stuff. I'm like, dang. I mean, they're cheering both of them. Like, it's crazy. It's kind of cool. It's like, oh, that's nuts that they're that they're cheering both of them. That's really interesting.
Yeah, well, you got to cheer for the bad guy if you like the bad guy. You got to cheer for the good guy if you like the good guy. If you don't like both, then you don't pay attention.
Yeah.
But don't be jerks like the WWE universe that goes to these shows who are fun. So the Louisiana, you guys did all right. I don't think there were a couple chants that were funny that I enjoyed. But as far as I know, to give both audiences a grade, they did well. A B+. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't as jerky as some of the crowds, which is good.
My fellow Cajuns, thank you very much. Thank you for your hospitality shown to the WWE.
You guys did well. And so we moved from, the best thing about SmackDown is it was segment. It was segment after segment. Like, everything was together.
Yeah.
Whereas, Raw was bookended by the same segment. SmackDown did the steady segments. And so the next segment was the Dolph being broken. I don't want to use that term because it's basically Matt Hardy's thing.
Yeah.
But, you can see Dolph, his psyche and everything, not become broken, but just being, I don't know a better word for it than broken. He's a broken man, not like Matt Hardy, but he's a broken man. He keeps losing. He loses to Kalisto, which I actually didn't see coming.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What do you think about this new Dolph turn?
The fans are super into it, and I'm actually into it because it's. First of all, his Twitter handle is @HeelZiggler, and I feel like this is a different heel Dolph Ziggler than I've ever seen. He's hardcore, and he's just like, he just don't give a f about nothing, as Creed says in The Office. He's just like hardcore, and like he's like really venomous and stuff, and it's totally out of character, but that's why it totally works.
Yeah.
Because it's completely different. Like, we've seen all this stuff happen. He gives everything to Dean Ambrose and then loses to him, and then he just goes up against the Miz and then loses and loses, and then puts his career on the line and is able to win, but then gets screwed and loses, and then he loses to Baron Corbin, and then he just snapped. Like, he's a guy who just he's a guy who's just snapped, basically. Like, kind of, like you said, kind of broken, but you're trying to think of a different word to use it.
Snapped Dolph Ziggler doesn't sound right.
I know. Yeah.
Broken Dolph Ziggler sounds right.
Damaged, maybe.
Damage, yeah, damage.
Yeah, and so he's just like, you know what? I don't care. Kalisto, what?
Yeah.
Super kick, and yeah, like this hardcore Dolph Ziggler is a kind of a breath of fresh air, because I feel like they needed another heel, and I feel like he's a great pick for that. The fans aren't going to boo him because he's so good in the ring. At least now they're not booing him. Who knows? Something else could happen that
I think
is just
Yeah, I think everybody wanted to see this a change in this character, and so now we have it, and that's what we got. We got basically Dolph losing the match, but beating up both Kalisto and Apollo Crews with chairs, and so
yeah,
and so we have
and the match was pretty decent. The match was pretty good, and I totally didn't see Kalisto winning. I thought that was, I think that's more firewood, to throw on the fire pit there and get him going. So, but yeah, Apollo Crews come out, and then he just owns him with the chair and stuff. I was just like, yeah, like those chair shots were pretty gnarly looking. Like,
yeah, they were. So that's the Dolph Ziggler part. I guess there is one thing out of order. They do a John Cena in between the American Alpha Wyatts. You right?
Yeah, I just had a catch in my leg.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right, good. So the American Alphas have a match with the Wyatts, and that was obviously to show a breakup, possibly coming, imminent. What did you think of the match? What did you think of? What did you think of the match?
The match was pretty decent. These two teams, have had good matches in the past, and this, no exception here. Pretty decent one. American Alpha is one of my favorite tag teams now. Ever since the brand split, ever since they got drafted up from NXT, I've really taken a shine to them quite a bit. And this new Wyatt family, I totally dig. And even though it is probably just Randy Orton being going undercover, so to speak, and breaking them up to beat Bray and stuff like that, I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed their teaming up, and the match was pretty good. Had some good spots and stuff like that. I don't think anything's ever going to beat that wicked superplex from like last month or whatever, however long ago that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty good. What about you?
Yeah, it was a good match. Several good spots. The snap suplex on Chad was great. It was really, really good. But the match wasn't really for the championship.
Yeah.
It was to set up strife in between Luke and Randy But other than that, I mean, the match was really good. I like what they did to try to set up the breakup, but we'll see what happens. I don't have any more to say about it. It was a good match, greatly contested or greatly fought, and a great ending, interesting ending.
Yeah, this whole thing of the Wyatts breaking up is becoming really interesting because I think that it is Randy intentionally losing, intentionally messing up to make Luke Harper, look like he doesn't care and make him look careless, and then Bray, and then when, they were having, and he accidentally kicked, Luke Harper accidentally kicked Bray, I was just like, oh yeah, that's the Viper, pulling his puppet strings, sort of looks like that, and so yeah, I can't, I really hope it is that, because I feel like it'll have a tremendous payoff if they do it right.
Yeah.
So, anything else you have to say about that, or move on?
It was a good segment that had an interesting ending to continue storylines. Speaking of continued storylines, we didn't get a match between Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss, but we did get a match for next week.
Mm-hmm.
Steel cage match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. How do you feel about that, and what did you think of the segment?
I like the segment. Anything with Daniel Bryan, usually is getting any of the backstage stuff with Daniel Bryan's pretty good, and was he wearing one of his Mr. Rogers sweaters again?
I don't remember if he was wearing that or a flannel. I can't remember.
But I remember.
Probably Seahawks stuff.
But I thought it was kind of cool. Where he's like, "You could have a match next week." And I was like, "Oh, they're not going to hold off for the Rumble, or they're not going to hold off for Elimination Chamber even?" But then he, was like, "It's a steel cage match." I was like, "Okay, I don't really care if they hold off, because that sounds cool." And when was the last time we had a steel cage match on TV? It's been a long time.
Outside of NXT, it's been a while. It's been a very long time.
It's been a while. But yeah, totally just blanked on what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm excited for it. I think it'll be, hopefully it will be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope so. Maybe they'll put a roof on the cage, so
yeah,
Luchadora the Explorer, whoever it is, can't come in or something like that. But I mean, it's probably gonna happen.
Yeah, probably.
Or they'll cut through the canvas and come up. I don't know, something will happen.
Yeah.
But hopefully it'll be a good enough match so that this won't seem wasted or anything. But this does have me intrigued. This whole who is the Luchadora, thing. So that's kind of a fun thing that they have going on.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what that segment was. Outside of you're gonna have a steel cage match next week, which is gonna be cool. It's gonna be fun to watch, I think. So yeah, it was a good segment. So after that segment was the whole Carmella and James Ellsworth, which was the worst thing about the night.
And even then, it wasn't that terrible.
I think for them, I agree. It's not them. It was the wrestler they were wrestling that had just totally messed up Carmella's move at the end. She could have hurt herself, but other than that, they're gonna go shopping next week, so we'll see what happens.
I hope, honestly, because Carmella's dating Big Cass, in real life, I think it would be absolutely hilarious if she bought him like a wig, like a long wig, and then got him clothes and dressed him up just like Big Cass. Like that would be hilarious.
I have a feeling that this is going to go towards a Kamala. Gosh, I did a JBL there. Not Kamala, but Carmella is a gold digger. I think what's going to happen is she's got money in her eyes. She thinks that he's got this new contract. He's got all this money, and so you're going to take me shopping. I'm going to take you shopping. Use all of your money, type thing. I hope that's not it. It'd be funny if they do like a Pretty Woman.
A Pretty Woman skit. That would be funny.
Like, here, I'm going to make you up, James. You're going to look good. You're going to do all this stuff. You're going to have a new haircut. You're going to have all this new stuff.
That would be funny. That would be great, yeah. Actually, if they did her as a gold digger as the gimmick, I would actually like to see that, just because I would think it would be funny to see her do that with AJ Styles.
Yeah, that would be.
You know, and like that would be funny.
Because I think she's keeping him around to win as a good luck charm
Mm-hmm.
to win matches. Because she's, she even said, she's like, I'm on a roll. I'm on this streak. It's really, really awesome. So yeah, deep down, this whole sketch, it wasn't bad outside of the CJ Lund or whatever her name was messed up the final or the finish. Other than that, it wasn't too bad. And then at the end, we have the main event: Baron Corbin versus John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
Final match of the night with AJ Styles at commentary. What were your thoughts on the match and everything that involved?
AJ Styles, I like him when he does commentary. I like that him and JBL team up with, gang up on Morrow and Otunga. That's pretty funny, because now it's 2-on-2 and stuff like that. And on JBL, just like his sounds just like yeah, I got another guy, and I love that he always calls him Champ. I love that he always calls him Champ, because Don King always called Mike Tyson Champ. And so I thought I thought it was kind of funny, like that would be a funny thing to do, make that a thing where he becomes AJ Styles' promoter, or his manager,
Yeah.
and always calls him Champ, and make him like the white Texan version of Don King.
Oh, that'd be silly.
That would be so fun. They're not gonna do it, and I think a lot of people wouldn't like it, but I would, and that's all that matters.
Yeah,
but it was just a funny little idea I had. I was just like, haha. He was like, like, but yeah, it was funny, and but yeah, the actual match itself was really good. I really, really enjoyed the match.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It had the Cena finish. Like, everything was going basically Baron's way, and then all of a sudden it's almost as if they do the Cena finish when they need to cut time. Like there's a point in the match, everything's going like it's going smooth. It looks like it's going to be a really good match, and then all of a sudden something happens, and Cena does all the like 12 moves that he does before the AA to win. But you're right, it was a good match. My favorite thing about AJ on the commentary though was when Morrow called the thing the move Deep Six,
Mm-hmm.
and AJ was like, that was more like a sidewalk slam. That was funny, and then that whole bit,
and then he's like, he's doing the 5-knuckle shuffle. Did I get that right, AJ, or whatever he said? It's something like that.
It's like I'm not making fun of you or whatever.
Yeah, and he's like, oh yeah, you got that one right, or whatever.
Yeah, so that was a match. It wasn't short, but it wasn't too over the top. It was some good shots in by both.
But yeah, the Tornado DDT, Cena does that every so often, and the Tornado DDT is one of my favorite moves, and especially like I haven't seen anybody do this for a really long time. I don't even remember who used to do it, but not off the corner like that. But somebody used to do like a running Tornado DDT, and I can't remember. But yeah, like the Tornado DDT is a really cool move. It's one of my favorites, and that was a really cool part that had some good sound on it, when it hit the mat and stuff, and yeah, it was a pretty good match. I thought it was a pretty good way to close out the show, and they showed some little kids marking out like crazy when Cena won.
Yeah,
like
that was really funny.
It's just like this kid who's probably like 8 years old, decked out head to toe in Cena gear, and he just was like, yeah, going crazy and stuff like that. But then he stood up in the corner and raised his hands, and then AJ stood up on the table and raised the belt and stuff like that. And I was like, I think their match at Rumble is going to be really good.
Like Charlotte did last week.
Yeah. So I think their match at the Rumble is going to be pretty good. So I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, so what? It's still though 2 weeks.
Yep, still with 2 weeks. A lot to happen
until the Rumble. About
pulling up. Where is it?
Almost 3 weeks. Because it's the 29th, so yeah, that's like almost 3 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time.
So pulling up the Well, you want to finish SmackDown, and then I'll pull up the Royal Rumble info.
Sure.
Okay. Out of 5 Broken Skull IPAs, what would you give SmackDown this week?
I'll give SmackDown 3.5, maybe. I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3. It wasn't crazy solid, but it wasn't the train wreck that Raw was.
Yeah, it was. I think that's part of the reason why I gave it the extra half.
Yeah. Oh, that's.
It's just because it's just like, oh, good lord, good wrestling, a good wrestling show. That's good. But yeah, so yeah, I would give it a 3.5 because it doesn't warrant a 4 just because it wasn't super spectacular, but it was really decent and it had some good wrestling and good storyline stuff to go, and also it wasn't Raw. So
And it wasn't Raw.
it wasn't Raw, so I give it the half.
Yeah, I mean it was a solid show. It was an average show. I didn't hate. I after thinking about the Carmella and Ellsworth stuff, I didn't hate it as much as I did when I watched it. So yeah, for me it's a solid 3. All right, pulling up the Royal Rumble matches.
Because we're only 40 minutes into this episode. Usually these episodes take 75 to 95 minutes.
Yeah.
But Raw was so terrible we hardly talked about it, and
there wasn't much on SmackDown.
And there wasn't
story.
Yeah, so there wasn't a whole lot to cover on SmackDown because we got through it quick. So we might as well just fill up some time, I guess.
Yeah, and so we have the Royal Rumble match, which I am actually getting tired of them saying.
Yeah.
I get it. It's the match, not the whole show.
But you can just say the Royal Rumble.
Exactly. And it's probably some Vince McMahon thing that they have to say Royal Rumble match every freaking time. Anyway, so we got Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns right now for the Universal Championship with Chris Jericho in the cage. We won't talk about these right now because I'm sure they'll probably add another 1 or 2. Since they added 1 this week at least. Then we got AJ Styles and John Cena for the WWE Championship, which that'll be a great match because their last match was really, really good. And then we have Charlotte Flair versus Bayley for the Raw Women's Championship. I could see them adding, since they have both men's championship, I can see them adding the SmackDown Live Championship probably too. They should just do that in a shark cage. Just put them both in a shark cage. They're so small. They can do that. We'll move from the big cage to the shark cage. That'd be fun.
Oh, that would be hilarious. It'd be hard to get a pinfall in there, but
yeah, they have to do submission.
They'd have to do a
submission shark cage match. They already have the shark cage there. Might as well.
Yeah.
Do it. Anyway, that's what happens when you don't like Raw and SmackDown this week. Anyway, and then they just added the Cruiserweight Championship, Rich Swann versus Neville. They're not doing anything with the tag team titles, at least not right now.
Yeah.
So
I think they'll add 1 or maybe even both tag titles to it because you got to figure some of those, will probably be short, and because there's so many dominant big guys in the Rumble, maybe the Rumble won't take quite as long.
Oh, that could be, and maybe that's the reason why they're not stacking the card too. Is maybe they are expecting it to go crazy long. I foresee just talking into the future. WrestleMania 33 has a potential of being like 3 to 4 hours, if not 5. There's so much stuff that they could do.
There is.
And so
anyway, I fully expect it to be at least 4.
It'll go on forever. Anyway,
it's like last year when we watched WrestleMania. It felt like we were.
Yeah.
It felt like it went on forever.
I think part of that was the fanfare, but yeah.
Yeah, it was so long because there were all these backstage segments and non-wrestling segments going on and stuff like that, and some of the matches were long. It just went on forever.
It did. So as of right now, we have 13 wrestlers in the Royal Rumble match. We have Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods, Chris Jericho, Braun Strowman, Baron Corbin, Seth Rollins, The Undertaker, which Wikipedia has as unassigned, like he's not on Raw or SmackDown, Dean Ambrose, The Miz, and Dolph Ziggler. Do you foresee anybody else coming into this match? Can you think of anybody else that you think that that at least in the next couple of weeks will declare for it? Because obviously we're going to have the people who are coming back, the legends or whatever. Which
there's always 2. There's always at least two guys, it seems like.
And then
for it.
I would assume we'd see some guys coming up from NXT. And
Yeah.
so, is there anybody that you would like to see in the Royal Rumble, or do you think who will be coming? That's only 13 out of 30. That's less than half.
Yeah, so we've got 15 minutes. It'd be a good discussion to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've totally had me convinced. I think Samoa Joe might make it. I really think this would be a good time to bring him in.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I would definitely bring Samoa Joe in at the Rumble here. I think Seth Rollins will declare for it, maybe.
Seth Rollins is in it.
Oh, he already is?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's one of them. He declared it the first segment last night.
Oh, okay. Gosh.
Monday night.
I must have totally missed that.
It was it was the beginning of Raw. They're doing the performance review, and he comes in, hey, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be in Royal Rumble," just kind of flippantly off there.
Okay.
So.
I think Sami Zayn. In my mind, he has to be in it.
I agree.
He made his debut at the Rumble, his main roster debut at the Rumble last year, so it'd be a good time to. I feel like he should definitely come back. DDP was in it last year, wasn't he? Right? And
I think we're also getting the Andre the Giant Battle Royal mixed up with the Royal Rumble. Because I think some of those guys, I think Tatanka was in the Battle Royal.
At Mania?
At Mania.
Okay.
And I think DDP was at Mania too.
Okay.
I could be wrong. But that's what I think. Because I get those two mixed up all the time.
That's easy.
Yep.
But, in terms of other people who might make a comeback into it, I don't know. Like the old timers who could come back. If they patched things up with Hogan and brought him, maybe this would be it. But I mean,
Ric Flair says he's going to be in it.
Ric Flair?
He posted something on Instagram with him lifting some weights.
Huh.
And with the number 17. So Ric Flair could be in the Royal Rumble. I mean, he doesn't look too bad for his age. Because he's got he's got a shirt and stuff off, and it's like you look bad, buddy, but not. I mean, he doesn't look as bad as I thought. I think he can do it. I think.
Yeah. I think Big Show will possibly be in it. I think Kane probably. I don't know if either of them will declare, but I think they'll be surprise entrants maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Because I haven't seen either of them for a while.
And it would be cool to see Kane and Undertaker work together for a little bit.
Yeah, I hope they do that. Like, I think that'd be cool to do. I don't know, like Mark Henry, haven't seen him for a while. He might make a surprise return in the Rumble. Yeah, I really don't know.
Yeah, it's really hard for me too. I agree with pretty much everybody that you said. But we have 17 more people to see.
We've got almost 3 weeks left, so.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll see. We'll see what happens. And so that's the Royal Rumble kind of report, if you will, for this week. Not much else is going on in the wrestling world. I haven't watched 205 Live yet, so I'm looking forward to that. But anyway, I don't have anything else about wrestling that I need to talk about. What about you?
No, nothing comes to mind really. Yeah, it seemed kind of like a throwaway.
It was a throwaway
week.
Why did we even do this, Caleb?
I don't know. It seemed like kind of a throwaway week for the WWE. Just seemed like let's just wing it. Let's just phone it in until the week before the Royal Rumble, and then the Royal Rumble. We won't phone those in, but
yeah, it's almost as if they realized last week's episodes were really good, so let's give them crap episodes.
Yeah.
This week, let's not worry about story. We'll worry about storyline on a surface level, but everything else is.
Yeah. It was weird. I didn't get a lot of stuff, but maybe Miz will be in the Rumble.
He is.
He already is?
Yeah.
Dang it! How do I keep missing all these people?
Because these past 2 episodes were really crap.
I guess I've just been so traumatized by how crappy they were. I've been completely missing all of them saying that.
Yeah, but Miz, Dean Ambrose, will probably. I think.
I remember
Miz
Miz
and Kalisto will probably be in it because of the whole Dolph Ziggler thing.
Yeah, and Dolph Ziggler, I don't know if he's in it.
I think I said Dolph.
Okay, I couldn't remember if you said he's in it or not, but
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dolph said.
I think he'd be great in it, so he needs to be in it. But
yeah, Dolph was the last one to say something.
But yeah, I totally think it would be rad if the final four in the Royal Rumble are Kane and Undertaker. So we got the Brothers of Destruction, and then we have Brock and Goldberg. I think that there's a very good chance that could be the final four because since Roman is in the championship match, I don't think him or KO will, be in it because
unless they do that match before the Rumble.
So
and then I could
yeah,
see
the Royal Rumble universally almost goes on last.
Okay.
So I'm thinking even so that will probably be last. The actual Rumble will be. So I'm thinking whoever wins or loses that match, the Universal match or the World match, either the title matches. I don't think any of those four guys will be in it. Whether who wins or loses, because I could see them doing that where Roman loses to KO via shenanigans or just loses and then he is already in the Rumble and then goes in it later on and to get a rematch or same thing with AJ. AJ loses the title and then wins the Rumble, goes in it later and then wins or something. But but I don't see either of those. I don't see any of those four guys actually being in it later.
Yeah, maybe not. I could see if they like some like flippant characters are in the Royal Rumble. I could see if Kevin Owens loses the Universal title, I could see him trying to get someone like, I'll take your place, I'll give you this whatever, and then I'll take your place for the Rumble and get in that way. But I don't know. I mean, it's all
or just straight up beating somebody up and then taking their spots.
That's very true.
But yeah, can't wait for it. It's just
Yep.
I want the Royal Rumble to get here so bad, because I have no idea who's gonna win it. Undertaker, as it stands right now, is probably my pick to win it. Just because Roman's still not completely over with the crowd, so he's not gonna win it. And like I said, I don't see any of the four participants in the championship matches taking place in it. Could be completely wrong, but I just don't see it. And I don't think Goldberg or Brock will win because I still think they want those two at Mania, maybe.
Yeah, it just depends because I've heard rumors that they're going to do Fastlane because stuff that's been going on. They've rethought, or at least Vince has rethought what he wants to do at WrestleMania, and so for WrestleMania, I think we've got Seth and Triple H.
I'm pretty sure we could put that one in the books as booked.
It actually is. And then Shaq and Big Show, and then one other is already booked. So,
yeah, I could. I'm wondering if Triple H will crash the Rumble, not like last year where he comes in at number 30, but actually just straight up
goes in.
His SUV, arrives and he comes out and stuff like that, and later on he, just comes out of nowhere and then just pedigrees Seth Rollins and then, Brock or somebody throws him over or something, and then that sets up their WrestleMania match or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Triple H will screw over Seth Rollins because that's how you make a match.
So you do it. This is how we do it. That's right. I was singing Montel Jordan. You're gonna sit there and take it, audience. Well, overall, let's just say for the sake of argument, overall, both of these shows, as a whole, what would you give them on a scale of 1 to 5?
To give them both the...
Yeah, together as a whole, this week's WWE programming for those two shows, as a whole, what would you give them overall?
Probably a 2.5. They just neither of them was outstanding. Raw brings down SmackDown. to its level. And so I would say 2.5.
Yeah, I would say maybe a 2, just because for what you said, Raw really brought SmackDown, and Raw was just so horrendous that I don't think SmackDown could have brought it up.
Yeah.
And it's not SmackDown's fault. It's just that Raw was really bad, and so I don't know, and yeah, it's just crazy. We have no idea what anybody's gonna do. We don't know if they're gonna do Braun and Roman at WrestleMania. We don't know if they're gonna do Brock and Goldberg. We don't know. I mean, it's so weird. Because it seems like we had everything figured out, and then now it's just like, I don't know, nothing.
I don't either.
Yeah, well, guess we can wrap this one up.
Right on.
I think it's our shortest, not counting the ones that either of us did solo. I'm pretty sure this is our shortest episode.
Yep. Thanks, Raw and SmackDown.
And we had to just fill it. Otherwise, it would have been the shortest episode.
For keeping it short this week.
Yeah, I guess so. Hopefully next week will be better, because this was just terrible. All right, folks, let's dig a hole, because Raw stole our soul. See, I made it hip to the whole Undertaker saying.
He should have dug 30 holes for 30 souls, because he couldn't have saved it.
Because Raw was terrible.
Yep.
That 30th hole was for Raw, because it was it was just god awful, just terrible. All right, folks. Well, thanks for stopping by for WWPWW Episode 26, I believe it was. And, I'll find out later. Who cares? Nobody listens to this anyway.
Except for you, Ryan. Shout out to you, Ryan.
Yeah. What's up, Ryan? Have to have you on sometime as a guest, bro.
That's right.
All right. Well, let's finally close it out. This is Caleb.
This is Jeremy.
Signing off.
Peace.